a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! Taylor gets this one out towards center field to the short porch, and it's a grand slam! That's a floater, out to short. And it's booted off the shortstop's glove! Just like they drew it from Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! Grant Fournier, two-run shot to right. For the second Friday night in a row, we find ourselves in Shore Conference territory. We welcome you to Manchester Township, the Hawks' Nest, home of the Manchester Township Hawks, as we've got some Shore Conference football on this Friday night here in Ocean County. I'm Dan Wilkins. We are joined by Matt Goldman on the call tonight, as this is going to be definitely a game to remember. Remember last year was one of the closest games that we saw in the Manchester Township schedule with a final score of 24-12. Today could be different with Manchester Township having a new quarterback, two new running backs, and two of their wide receivers from last year all having hit the graduation spot. We now return to action for Manchester after seeing them lose to Rumson last year. It's going to be an interesting night overall, but Manchester has got a little bit of sentimental side to this game with their athletic director, Keith Lister, retiring after 38 years of service. There's going to be a bit of a chip on the shoulder for Manchester tonight.
Yeah, this is a rivalry game between Barnegat and Manchester. These are two tough squads going at it. The Bengals and the Hawks do not like each other. So in this matchup today, it is going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be something that I'm very excited to see. This is a great rivalry between two Ocean County teams, two Group 2 schools as it is. So I'm excited to see what the Hawks can do, what the Bengals can do. We're in for a great night of Shore Conference football.
I mean, listen, last year when we saw Rumson and Manchester, it was a battle between two highly touted quarterbacks, Aiden Lunn and Owen O'Toole. Both of those are gone, and you still have Jack Haviland for Barnegat, but they're going to Trevor Fryer, the sophomore quarterback who went 5 for 13 in 3 appearances. Not any starts, but he did make a handful of garbage time appearances in a freshman year of 2024. So now we return to action. Manchester lost their first game of the year to Toms River East 22-6, and now they come back for another home game, and again with a little bit of sentimentality on their side with Keith Lister retiring. But for Barnegat, though, they were a team that really trudged along last year and had a good year, but I don't know how much of an impact they made. They finished 6-4 with Coach Covine at the helm again, and as they return to this matchup again after losing to Manchester 24-12 last year, we'll see how they can keep it close.
Yeah, Coach Covine won the best in the game in the Shore Conference of all of Ocean County. They returned Chris Santero, a phenomenal running back. He had over 100 yards last week. So with how good that Manchester defensive line is, led by their senior captain, Curtis Mayer, that's going to be a matchup I like in today's game.
It's going to be a matchup that we all like, and we hope you all are enjoying it for the ride with us. For our second Friday night in a row, we're down here, down the shore. Last week, the two of us called the Point Pleasant Beach game, which saw Matthew Rossi beat the single-game passing yard record of 266 yards versus South River, and we return in just a moment. We will be right back as we are going to honor Keith Lister, who is retiring after this game. Technically, he retired on September 1st, but we're going to show the ceremonial coin toss in just a moment.
These efforts have laid a foundation that will benefit future generations of students, coaches, and educators. The words Keith J. Lister, Manchester Township Schools, Athletic Director / Vice Principal, celebrating 38 years of excellence in education. On behalf of the Manchester Township Board of Education, Superintendent of Schools Diane Pedroza, and Principal Dennis Adams, we extend our deepest thanks and heartfelt congratulations to Keith for a lifetime of leadership and unwavering commitment to excellence. Please join me in celebrating Keith Lister, a pillar of our community and a true champion on and off the field.
So there you go. We were tipped by Tommy Farrell that this was going to be a ceremony to watch. Again, honoring Keith Lister, 38 years of service to the Manchester Township community. And we will stay on the air for the national anthem. Well, you just missed it as we get ready for opening kickoff. Tommy Farrell took it upon himself to get the crowd hyped up, went up to the railing, and he said, let's go, let's go. And indeed, we're ready to do so on this Friday night. It is 85 degrees at opening kickoff as we are ready for a battle down the shore. Tommy Farrell's hyped up for the youngster head coach. He's got a entourage of assistants around him getting ready as this game might be a little bit better than last year's matchup that we saw at Manchester Township. It's the Barnegat Bengals, the Manchester Township Hawks. I'm on the call today with Matt Goldman to my right, a Manchester Township graduate of 2024. But crowd still filing in on this Friday night. It's our final Shore Conference game of the year, and we will be ready to kick things off with the Bengals, the left-footed kicker number 24, Anthony Dringis. Kick will roll at the 20. It'll be returned and shoved out of bounds on the return by Tyheem Jackson. And we'll get it started. And let's take a look at Trevor Fryer, a.k.a. the Air Fryer. Chicken wings beware. He's your sophomore quarterback. His stats from last year: only attempted 13 passes, had 85 passing yards, but that was because he took over for senior quarterback Aiden Lunn, who we mentioned in the open. And as a sophomore, he's got 3 years to work his way up, but he did throw 2/3 of his passes successfully in a 22-6 loss to Toms River East last Friday on opening night.
It's a big moment here for Fryer. You know, it's his second career game starting under helm. And this is, a project quarterback for Coach Tommy Farrell. Had Aiden Lunn for 3 years. Now, year 4, new quarterback, new regime. It's a different look Manchester team from a season prior. I'm excited to see what these gentlemen could do today.
Fryer throws over the middle to the tight end. It's caught, and he's going to get himself a first down with plenty of room to run. He's up to the 40. Barnegat struggling to tackle as Curtis Mayer. We talked about his incredible athleticism, and Tommy Farrell calls his number on the first play. It'll be a first down. They are going to flip this all the way over to the 35-yard line as a gain of at least 30 yards on the play. How about that?
Fantastic read there from Fryer, finding Mayer wide open. Curtis Mayer, a player who could do it both, helping the receiving end. Fantastic as a defensive end. A 5-tool player for the Hawks in this one.
1st and 10, single back, Fryer. Hands off to the running back, Malik Farms. And he'll get a little bit of gain to the left that time. 2nd and 9 for Manchester. But yeah, this is a new look Manchester team that is going to be, again, starting anew. Their leading 2 rushers from last year graduated. Their leading 2 receivers from last year graduated. And, of course, Aiden Lunn, the quarterback who threw for over 1,500 passing yards last year, also graduated. It was a storybook season for Manchester Township. They beat West Deptford in the open at the Battle of the Beach. And then they had a relatively good regular season. We caught them on a bad night versus Rumson Fairhaven. That was their one home loss all year. They had a regular season loss versus Southern Regional, and then they lost in the playoffs to Point Pleasant Borough in South Jersey Group 2, and that was after a miraculous first-round win, walk-off field goal over West Deptford. Pass to the flat on the left. They'll get about 5 yards as he's down at the 30. Catch made by Aiden Phillips Frazee, the senior wide receiver.
Seems like Fryer is just really comfortable in the pocket thus far. In his 2 throws, he's having a great time out there. He's calm, he's cool, calm, collected. And out of your sophomore quarterback, he has a lot of poise. That's what you'd like to see. Tommy Farrell really trusting his guy early.
Yeah, I really like how Farrell is trusting Fryer here. He's made 2 passes already. This is only going to be the 4th play of the drive, and it'll be their first 3rd down conversion attempt. And that's where you see the most adversity coming out of these players, is when they're put under pressure. Obviously, they got a nice crowd pleaser with the 30-yard completion to the tight end, Curtis Mayer, 6'3", 210 pounds. But now you're put under pressure, and now it's no time for funny business. Just got to get 5 yards and move the sticks. Bit of a high snap. Fryer rolls out. Offensive line collapses. He's hit as he throws, and it's caught right side to the end zone for the score. Touchdown, Manchester. How about that for a hot start? Dom Hunt with the touchdown. We have a flag down. There was a late hit on Fryer as he threw, but the flag came in from the backfield. See what the penalty is. I'm curious if it's a roughing the passer call that's now going to be a moot point because of five-yard penalty. Touchdowns brought back. They called an illegal man downfield on Manchester, so no touchdown, and we return to score to 0-0. If anything, it's only a 5-yard penalty, so they're back to 3rd and 10, but it would have been a 30-yard touchdown to Dom Hunt on the right side. Referees calling it back again for an illegal man downfield. With 9:09 left in the first, only 3 minutes gone. Fryer deep, they pass for the screen, and that will be rounded up on the catch by Mike Fink, the junior tight end. Only got a couple of yards, and that 5-yard penalty ends up making the difference. It'll be 4th down for Manchester. However, Fryer's coming off the field. It is Aaron Gregg coming on. I don't think the special teams unit is coming out, though, because Fryer is still talking to Coach Tommy Farrell. Or, excuse me, one of his assistants down there on 4th down.
It'd be a risky decision for the Hawks to go for it. It gave the Bengals very solid field opportunity early. We'll see what happens. This is Coach Tommy Farrell's world, and we're living in it today. We
definitely are. I mean, they're obviously a little bit upset that score got taken away from them. Never feels good to have that touchdown, get everybody excited, and then for it to all be a moot point. 4th and 7 from the 32. Fryer drops back again, same song. Think he got hit as he throws. It is incomplete. Broken up by Barnegat's number 3, Peter Ledzinski. No, excuse me, Christopher Santero. You talked about him in the open. Intended receiver was Aaron Gregg, and that illegal man downfield penalty not only cost them some points, but it cost them the drive as well. Turnover on downs, Manchester. Barnegat will take over now. So we take a look at their quarterback, Haviland, entering his senior year. And for Barnegat, of course, he didn't go to the air as much as some of our guys from last week, but still did it a decent amount, 73 for 118. Puts himself in around the 65% completion range, 1,046 passing yards, 9 TDs, 7 interceptions, and then 6 games of 100 passing yards or more. His best was versus Jackson Liberty. The now closed and merged Jackson Liberty. They made it a giant Jackson Memorial School and made Jackson Liberty a middle school. Haviland handoff. Up the middle to the back, and they'll get about 3 yards, it looks like, on the play as they just run it up the gut to the, let's see here, number 6. That would be Esteban Babylonia for the Bengals.
Haviland is a phenomenal quarterback for the Bengals. 84 rushing yards a week prior. Threw some really solid passes within the air. And the Hawks defense is going to have their handful. They're going to see what this dual-threat quarterback has to offer today.
Well, the interesting thing is that when these two played in late September last year, it was a divisional matchup. Both teams were in the Shore C-South Conference, or C-South Division. Meanwhile, Barnegat stayed put in the C-South, while Manchester's performance got them bumped up one to B-South. Defensive line holds really well that time. Tackle was made by number 44, Ryan Hetzel. And, again, the rush by Babylonia, 3rd and mid-range. But Barnegat mostly staying on the ground in this opening drive.
What I'd like to see so far is this is a young defense for the Hawks. A lot of sophomores, a lot of juniors, a lot of underclassmen really utilizing their strengths. And we're seeing a lot of rotations, a lot of players coming in and out. Tommy Farrell keeping his guys fresh.
Definitely like those rotations. Again, this is a big roster for a Group 2 school. And a packed sideline for Manchester Township. 3rd and mid-range from the 38. Haviland drops back to pass, finds the man on the slant. Ball comes out. Who's got it? Manchester might have this one, and they do. They proclaim a fumble and a turnover. Mike Fink takes that one after the completion to Blake Pizzuti. He coughs up the football, and we've got back-to-back turnovers right on top of midfield. Manchester 1st down.
What a heads-up play from the linebacker, Mike Fink. just putting on a clinic. He's another player to watch out on this defense for. Forcing that fumble, getting the ball back. Now Trevor Fryer and company are to come out around just up under midfield. That's what you like to see if you're the Hawks.
Yeah, that is exactly what you'd like to see from Manchester. Something to get a little pep in the step. Obviously, everybody was a little deflated after that touchdown got called back for the illegal man downfield, and then you follow that up with a turnover on downs. Doesn't take too long for Manchester to get the football back in their hands. This time the rush to the left side by number 15, King Bass.
Number 15, King Bass. Pick up a 4 on the play, brings up a 2nd and 6.
So 2nd and 6. They've been diversifying the backfield. We saw Malik Farms on the first rush. And obviously that drive was set up really well on a 30-yard pass to Curtis Mayer, the tight end, who has been one of the stars to watch for Manchester. They hand it off to the tight end, Mike Fink, and he is going to barrel his way through for a first down.
Fink's a bruiser. This is a guy who can get out there and really just carry the pile and just do everything he can.
I really like that, though. He's not the prototypical running back, but he certainly made it look easy for a gain of 6. And it'll be first down. Manchester lined up at the 43-yard line. As we said, the quarterback Aiden Lunn, who graduated last year, was the leading passer and the leading rusher. 650 rushing yards, 1,518 passing. Fryer goes to the air, right side. Easy catch with plenty of room, and knocked down at the 30. Will be Aiden Phillips Frazee. Tackle made by number 5, Jack Haviland, also lining up on both sides of the ball. Got a lot of respect for quarterbacks like that who, either because of roster construction or because, you know, those are hungry dogs that want to eat, playing himself on both sides of the field, lining up as a quarterback and a defensive back. As somebody who graduated from a Group 1 school, I graduated from Audubon. We basically saw that every time. If you were on offense, there was a good chance you were going to line up as the defensive 11 as well.
As an alum here from Manchester, it's about the same thing with Group 2 schools.
Big tackle in the backfield, rush by King Bass again on the backwards pitch. First play for Manchester to really be a loss, as they ran it up well, but Barnegat, I think that because Manchester just took a little bit too long for the play to develop, Barnegat caught onto it quickly and was able to tackle for a loss. But I'll tell you this, though, the Barnegat student section, not easy to I should say, not hard to notice.
No,
they're wearing
all
their
neon.
construction gear. I mean, that is bright. I don't think I could wear that out in public.
No?
No, I don't think I could pull it off. I had a mullet my sophomore year of high school. I can't go much farther lower than that.
I had a mullet back in the day.
There you go.
Then I got really greasy, and my mom was telling me, oh, you got to shave it off. Not for you.
2nd and 10 from the 31. Fryer goes back to the air, rushes to the right side. Offensive line holds up really well. He will barrel his way forward. Fryer going one-on-one as he's brought down by Blake Pizzuti. Should also be noted that Manchester's leading receiver from last year, Marquise Goins Jr., also graduated, but 1,609 passing yards, 1,707 rushing yards, 13 passing TDs, 22 rushing TDs for Manchester last year. They went an unbeaten 5-0 in the Shore C-South, which is probably what prompted the divisional move. The Shore Conference does realign their division every year. And the reason why I say that is because as somebody who works primarily, 95% of my games are in the WJFL, those divisions realign every 2 years. Fryer, play action. Tossed over the middle. It's picked off, but a flag comes flying in as soon as the play was made. Picked off by Joshua Kaka.
Looks like to be illegal touching there by Kaka.
Let's see here.
The defense comes on for the Hawks, so it may be on the Hawks here.
I mean, the flag came flying in almost at the exact moment that the interception was made. Holding on the offense. So the penalties declined. The interception will stand. And we are already going to have our 3rd turnover of the quarter. And honestly, this is a little bit refreshing. If you visited last night's game, Pennsauken and Washington Township, final score was 41-0. That wasn't the best game we could have covered.
Yeah.
We could have covered Salem and Cinnamints, and the final score of that game, 3-0 Salem.
All defense. Defense with championships.
Oh, yeah. And kickers. Kickers win championship. Haviland, handoff. Up the middle, spinning, firing. And still on his feet, wrestled down at the 32 on the rush by Chris Santero.
Santero over 100 rushing yards a week prior. That's going to be the offensive workload for the Bengals. They're going to rely a lot on Santero tonight. Just move the pile, go up the middle, let his guards pull for him. He's going to do a lot of the craft back there for the Bengals.
Well, Barnegat won their opening night game on Thursday, 21-13 at Monmouth. Going down 13-0 in the first quarter, Barnegat carried back with 2 touchdowns in the second and then scored 1 in the fourth to make the final score 21-13. Haviland rushing immediately out of the pocket. He finds his man. He is way downfield, and that is way far gone.
How about the arm there from Haviland?
It was a fantastic arm. It's a shame it doesn't count. The intended receiver was a John Johnson.
Johnson absolutely burnt that Hawks secondary. That's something to watch out for. If the Hawks can't go deep against a speedster, it's going to be an issue. It's something the Bengals should definitely take advantage of quickly.
It's definitely going to be a dangerous point for Manchester if Barnegat can line that up. Obviously, it was a very good throw by Haviland, but sometimes having an arm like that is a good problem to have. Because even though he overshot his receiver that time, if he makes his adjustments and he makes his tweaks when necessary, when needed, he can definitely find those receivers like a John Johnson downfield and get some points on the board. Rush to the right side, handoff on third and mid-range. I thought there was a flag on the play, but that is a yellow pom-pom on the Barnegat cheerleading side that got popped up in the air, and it made me think that a flag was on the play. But it is 4th and 3. 2 minutes left in the first quarter.
Best thing you could see, 2 hard defenses going at it. We saw that Hawks secondary did get exploited for that matter, but the Bengals can't convert on the weak defense.
Bengals will punt on 4th and 3 from the 36. Maybe not as ambitious as Manchester Township was in their prior drives. Could be watching for a fake here. No, they will punt. Number 80, Zamir Jackson. Where is that ball? It lands out at the 40. The intended returner would have been number 8, Cameron Longsworth. No, that would have been number 6, Taheem Jackson. And Manchester takes over for drive number 4. So for those following at home, we had a turnover on downs. We had I believe we had a fumble. And then we had an interception. And now we've got a punt.
That's what you like to see, though. Not a game where offense has been prevalent thus far, but defense early for both the Hawks and Bengals. If I'm Coach Paul Covine, if I'm Coach Tommy Farrell, I'm telling my offenses, this is the time. This is where you need to be lenient. You have to know what's going on. You have to convert your rushes. You have to get separation when running your routes because this is showtime.
Handoff up the middle to Farms, and he'll get about 2 or 3 yards on the play. Second down with 1:15 remaining in the first quarter. Yeah, after a 41-0 game last night where 28 Washington Township points were scored in the first quarter, I was looking forward to tonight because, you know, last year's game between these two, it was close. It was a 12-point game, 24-12. And, again, as you said, Matt, being a Manchester grad, you know that this is a nice local rivalry, even though Barnegat isn't that close. He said it's about, what, 35 minutes?
About 30, 35 minutes, but
still a passionate rivalry.
Yeah, the orange and black and the blue and gold do not like when these teams are playing at it.
Right at the line of scrimmage, Farms dives for a little bit more, and he'll get up to the 47. There's 35 seconds left, so one can presume he'll have a little bit more time for one more play. Of course, this is Barnegat's first appearance on DWB. Time is, or I thought time was called, but referee just put up his hands there. Time will continue to run as for the first time this year we could have a scoreless first quarter. We had a scoreless first half in a game last year between Camden Eastside and Pennsauken, a game that ended 13-8 as Manchester will walk off the field, and at the end of the first quarter, No scores, but 4 drives in total. A turnover on downs, a fumble, an interception, and a punt have been the story of today so far. 2 goose eggs on the score here at the Hawks' Nest after 1. Starting the second quarter here from Manchester Township. Oh, that ball goes way over everyone's head. Falling on it on 3rd and 4 is Manchester as Malik Farms comes up with it. But I don't know what the game plan was. They were almost snapping that ball like it was a punt. And now it's going to be 4th and a country mile. Really no choice but to put the special teams unit on for Manchester.
It's a bad snap there from the Hawks. You hate to see that right off the bat, but that's a learning curve.
Yeah, again, second game of the year for both teams. Barnegat coming off of a 1-score win over Monmouth last week, and then Manchester coming off of a 22-6 loss in their home opener to Toms River East. Tight punt. Received at the 45 in Barnegat territory. They'll rush this one back. They've got some room on the left side as the return by Chance Joseph gives Barnegat good field position inside their opposing 40 for their 3rd drive of the night. That, again, nobody has gotten into the end zone or even through the uprights yet for either side.
We can see a change of that right here. The Bengals are in great field territory, already past midfield. A great return there from Johnson.
36-yard line for Barnegat to start this drive. We were mentioning earlier, this is Barnegat's first appearance on DWB. They're the 119th high school in the state of New Jersey to get covered and the 14th in the Shore Conference. Shocking how we've done all of that already as Haviland scrambles a direct snap to the quarterback, and he'll get about 3 yards, second and a little bit long, 2nd and 8.
I expect to see a lot of that, these direct snaps to Haviland as he's in there trying to run this quarterback power technique to either the left or right side. 84 rushing yards a week prior is no joke for a young cat under center. So I think that's Coach Paul Covine's big agenda. Give the ball to Haviland. He's playing all over the place, whether it's a DB, whether it's at quarterback position. Let him cook.
There you go. Got to incorporate some of the Gen Z lingo there as that pass is caught. This is going to be short of a first down. Pass made to Charlie Bryant, the junior wideout. It might be enough for a first. It's going to be close. If not, it's going to be 3rd and a yard from the 27, and it will be 3rd and short.
3rd and 2.
And going back to that point with Paul Covine, Coach Paul Covine for that matter, we may see a quarterback power here. We may see a rush right up the middle with Santero. I wouldn't be surprised if the Hawks try to bunch up their safeties right up front and try to stop this run attack right away.
It's very important that they have those big moments like this because it's 3rd down. You don't want this game to get too complacent. You want to make that point known as the pass is made again to Bryant. Breaks away, but the whistles are called, and he's going to get stopped in his tracks. Question is, was he down or was it an incompletion?
It may be an incompletion.
No, they're moving the first down marker and they're moving the chain. So even though he must have had a knee down somewhere, he does pick up a first down, though. Back-to-back receptions to the left side to the wideout, Charlie Bryant, excuse me.
Now the Bengals are really trying to work that side of the field, making Manchester, go all over the place. If this is their bread and butter, they got to keep utilizing it. But if you're the Hawks, you want to see them run. It looks like their interior defensive front is really kicking in well. But that secondary not doing too well, not doing too hot.
New handoff for Barnegat, number 22, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
By number 22, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
And they'll get a couple of yards out of it. I would assume no relation to the former Dolphins quarterback.
That'd be pretty cool.
Or former Jets quarterback. He played for basically every team under the sun. And he was a Harvard grad. Don't see a lot of those.
Kyle Juszczyk for the 49ers.
The fullback.
Yeah.
The last fullback alive.
I would say it's either him or Pat Ricard for Baltimore. It's a dying breed, sadly.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you had Mike Allstott and company.
Rush up the middle. That looked like it was Esteban Babiloni on the carry on 2nd and 9. Does put the Bengals in the red zone. Should note they do have a place kicker listed on the roster as Anthony Dringus. But I say in high school, I've said it like a broken record pretty much every week, that there is no such thing as field goal range in high school football. Unless you are standing on top of the goal line, unlikely you're going to find field goals, which Manchester Township did, but somebody asking on their sign, what is a Bengal? Somebody get the National Geographic subscription. We have a flag on the play. They will wave the flag off. Okay, Barnegat does call a timeout. That's their first of the night. So it's their first timeout charged. And with 7:26 remaining here on DWB, still tied 0-0. This broadcast is brought to you by our good friends at Rowan College of South Jersey at Gloucester County. The premier community college of the Northeast. Visit rcsj.edu for more information for academics and rcroadrunners.com for more information on athletics. Along with that, our broadcast is brought to you by Gray Fox Sports. Enhance your sports photography today and enhance your sports productions with Gray Fox Sports. Visit their website or Instagram, grayfoxsports.net on their website, and of course, Gray Fox Sports on Instagram. There's the massive American flag that was shining brightly and still is waving to our right, courtesy of the Manchester Fire Department. Third and mid-range, Haviland racing out, right side, dumps off a pass to the tight end. It is caught. It should be enough for a first down as it's caught by Nick Malinkowski.
Haviland doing a great job at not crumbling under pressure. The offensive tackles there especially were really taken advantage of by the DNs. But Haviland stayed poised. He didn't let anything get to his head and finds Malinowski. Fantastic play for the Bengals and a big first down.
Barnegat picked that one up. They're going to go all the way back. Whistles fly. We just came back from an internet outage, so we apologize. Barnegat just returned their own opening kickoff. Manchester muffed it on the right side. While we were away, let's take a look at the touchdown. It was a 5-yard pass. Thank goodness we saved the replay. We'll just let you look at this play. The extra point was good, so the score is 7-0 Barnegat. Worst time for the Wi-Fi to go out here in Manchester. We sincerely apologize, but here's a review of the play. Haviland got that pass immediately off to Blake Pizzuti, and the score was good. Extra point followed successfully, and it is 7-0 Barnegat. They are going to line this one up back First of all, it's going to be Manchester on defense, so Barnegat did successfully recover the football, and they're going to line it up from the 35. So back-to-back possessions here for the Bengals.
Just not a good play at all for the Hawks. Mental mistakes will eat them alive, and unfortunately, a muff on the kickoff return is just very evident of it.
Rush to the left, going to get about 8 or 9 yards from Babylonia that time. The senior back. Not sure if it's enough for a first, and indeed it will be, so they're going to move the chains. But either way, though, Barnegat gets their first score after a handful of drives gone awry. Manchester threw an interception. We saw a little bit of everything in the first quarter, but everything but points. And now Barnegat finally gets on the board with a 7-0 lead. 5-yard pass to Blake Pizzuti with the extra point successful. Dropping back. Haviland races out to the right, dumps it off. It is complete. Has room on the right side, stays in bounds. Tackled doubly right around the 15-yard line by Mike Fink. The Babylonia, after the successful first down rush, picks up an 8-yard reception. And with 4 minutes, 20 seconds in the first half, now 7-0 Bengals.
Now from the Bengals here, they've been utilizing this passing game with Haviland thus far. It's working. This defensive back unit is really lackluster for the Hawks. But it's a growing opportunity. It's something to get better. They did lose 22-6 last week against Toms River East. And now Haviland really just exploiting it very quickly.
Haviland, right after the snap, dumps off the pass to the right to number 11, Charlie Bryant.
We saw a more rush-based attack last week from the Bengals, but now it's a lot more of the air raid, where they're doing these short completions. They're trying to move the chains in a manner which is unorthodox. When you're trying to move the chains, you run that football, ground and pound. But these short passes are really getting them somewhere in a positive way.
Indeed, as it's a new set of downs for Barnegat. They're at the 13-yard line. The next first down for them will drop the chains, and we'll see if they can go up 2 scores before the half. Taking it himself, Haviland. Now cutting back towards the middle. He got about 8 yards on that play, a successful QB rush by Jack Haviland.
Fantastic cutback there from Haviland. Really working that linebacking core of the Hawks, Mike Fink especially. And Haviland putting this team on his back thus far, making impressive throws, running the ball very well. That's what you'd like to see. That's what you'd like to see at a QB1, a guy who's going to really embody your team, embody that orange and black.
Yeah, he's not exactly the tallest figure on his own offense, but
not at all.
He's somebody that, even though he doesn't have that very imposing figure, he's somebody that can really catch you off guard. You said he had somewhere around 80 rushing yards versus Monmouth in week 0, and that's what helped them get a win. They went down 2 scores in the first quarter, fought back, tied the game at half, and then won it with a fourth-quarter touchdown. Rush to Babylonia. Just shy of the goal line. We'll see where they put it on forward progress. Whistles fly. It'll be – they're going to put it at 3rd down, but I don't think it's good enough for the first, as we'll be at 2 minutes before the end of the half now. There was somebody in front of us asking us about the name, and I'm like, well, I'm not the one talking. Got a timeout called. We'll take a quick break. 1:51 remaining in quarter number 2. Barnegat 7, Manchester 0.
It's 3rd down. Let's make some noise.
Manchester called that last time out. 2 on each side remaining with 1:51 left in the second quarter. Stay tuned for the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting Halftime Entertainment, the DWB Archive Show, where we bring you through the best of the best in DWB history over the last 4 years. As now Haviland takes it himself, goes towards the pylon. He's hit before he gets in, but he is there. Touchdown, Bengals. And Barnegat, prior to the half, will go up 2 scores. The cheerleaders join them right near the end zone as Jack Haviland, in short range, takes it himself. A 5-yard pass to Blake Pizzuti to open the scoring, and now a 4-yard QB rush extends it, 13-zip. It'll be the place kicker, Anthony Dringis, on to kick for the left-footed kicker. It's up, and he's going to be 2 for 2 tonight. Extra point is good, 1:43 left in the first half, as it is, again, 14-0 in favor of Barnegat.
Haviland, as I mentioned earlier, a 5-tool player using his legs this one. A passing score earlier. That's 2 touchdowns for this young quarterback. And really putting on a show thus far. You know, the Hawks spirits may be down, but the student section here is still bumping.
Yeah, listen, I mean, I think that they know that they can win this game, and they know that this game is still within reach. It's not like last night when we were at Washington Township and, you know, it was, for what it was worth, it was over by the time we were 6 minutes into the game because they went up 21-0. And it was 28-0 at the end of the first quarter, 35-0 at the half. Obviously, there's very little overlap between who attended last night's game in Gloucester County and tonight's game in Ocean County, right near Toms River and Lakewood. But my point is, for us as broadcasters, this game, looking as an observer instead of as a fan, looking very doable for either side. Oh, and this one is muffed again. This time they're going to fall on it at the 26-yard line. This time, though, the Silver Lining Manchester recovers instead of muffing that kickoff, which is what happened last time and led to Barnegat's second score.
Hans' team is not looking strong at all for the Hawks. But it's a good point of emphasis within the week that Coach Farrell and crew are going to have to adjust, have to look at 2 muff punts. You don't really see muffs often. Now it's just going to become what happens on kickoffs. Are they just going to kneel? Are they going to jump on the ball right away? Or are they going to attempt to run and maybe a fumble comes out? This could be another opportunity for the Bengals to just add up more and more, rack it up more and more.
Well, I'll tell you this. We had a game last year between Haddon Township and Clayton where Clayton failed to recover 3 kickoffs in the first half. Haddon Township jumped all over it. They scored every time. Final score was 29-7. So they matter. Delayed handoff, it looked like that time. Got it back to the line of scrimmage. They'll have 90 seconds left in the first half. Here from the Hawks' Nest. Still hopping. I mean, listen, this is an interesting layout because the bleachers are not up right next to the field. There's a little bit of a gap for people to walk through. There's some folks hanging out on the railings all throughout. There's some folks down on the sideline that are also hanging out and enjoying this game as they'll throw it to the left side. It's, I would assume, incomplete, and it is.
This is the prototypical 2-minute drill for Trevor Fryer, the 2-minute drill for Coach Tommy Farrell, for Malik Farms, for Taheem Jackson. All these young playmakers here for the Hawks. They need to convert on something because thus far it's been dormant. The offensive attack has not been strong at all. It's going to be more than likely 6 points scored across 6 quarters. Not a great start to 2025.
Especially after your 8-3 season, but they don't look bad out there right now. I mean, maybe a little bit mistake-ridden, but they're not doing bad. I mean, they're only down 2 scores, and I think that Trevor Fryer individually has shown a lot of poise as the quarterback, but we can only go so far with hypotheticals. You've got to put points on the board. Pass was incomplete. It was high, intended for Dom Hunt on the right side, and it'll be 3rd and 11 now.
Hunt almost made this terrific grab to go get it. He had the touchdown on the call that came back. Got to get him more involved, as this is a guy who's not afraid, to make his mark.
Pulling out a page from Chris Collinsworth. Now here's a guy. Timeout called with 58.1 seconds remaining in the first half. We'll figure out who called it, but Manchester did call it. Okay, so that was their second of the first half. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow, Saturday, September 6th, for a battle of parochial football between the North and the South. It's Morris Catholic and Gloucester Catholic facing off on Saturday at 11 a.m. Vincent Folk will be on the call with that one with Colin Morris as well, as we'll have a fun matchup in a game that ended in just 3 points. Morris Catholic winning last year's matchup at Morris 17-14. 4th and 11. Manchester lining up on their own 26 as they burn their second timeout of the half.
And now this is risky. If they decide to go for it and it doesn't convert, it's going to be a pain in the butt for the Hawks. I feel like this is do or die right now, and I know we're only in the second quarter.
They're going to punt. That's the quarterback who punted that one away. We'll see who touched it. They're going to say that they're going to let it go. That was a punt by Trevor Fryer. So interesting stuff that time. They sent it out on 4th and 11, and they'll give Barnegat a field position at their own 47-yard line with 46 seconds left in the half. I don't know how much time it's going to give them to work, but
they do have 2 timeouts.
They do have 2 timeouts, and it'll be enough to try to drive downfield for 52 yards, get into the end zone for a 3-score lead.
And they do have a kicker who's 2 for 2 with extra points. So we may see a 30-yard field goal, a 25-yard field goal. If they wound up in the red zone, we could be seeing another score for the Bengals before we get to halftime.
Yeah, whether it's 3 or 7, we'll have to see. But Barnegat lining up with a single back. And trips left on the receiving core. That one is caught. He'll dive right at the 50. And going to get 2 yards. So just a little bit of a short pass that time to the left. Not sure who brought that one in. There was a swarm of players all around. Couldn't tell for sure.
Looks like it would be a tunnel screen there.
Now Haviland drops back. Line drive pass over the middle. It's caught. It's going to get all the way up to the 30 as the pass is caught by Nick Malinowski. Whistles fly, and Barnegat does call that timeout, so they're going to have some good clock management here at the end of the first half. It is 14-0 with 19.5 seconds left in the half. We'll take a quick break. .14 Barnegat calls their second timeout. Both teams have 1 remaining. Really the first game this year that we've seen an abundance of timeouts called by both sides in the first half. Pump fake by, that was close to being pass interference. It's incomplete. It was intended downfield for Blake Pizzuti. It was broken up by Aiden Phillips-Frazee. And they'll have 2nd and 10 from the 30 with 12.7 seconds left. So really no choice but to go to the air and, go big or go home here in this first half.
From my angle, it did look like there was a little PI, a little too much touching from the Hawks' point of view. But they may get a quick break here rather than settle in for a big penalty.
Well, I'll tell you this, it wouldn't have helped them as much as some viewers at home would think, because in high school, pass interference is only a 15-yard penalty, and it's not a spot foul like it is in the NFL. Haviland hit as he throws. Tipped. Did it get picked off? Yes, it did. It got picked off right on the goal line. Believe that was the tight end. It was Tyheem Jackson, the returner, who came up with it, and Manchester will have time for one more play. The question is, though, where is this going to land? Because it looked like he fell backwards as he was picking it off right on the goal line.
Yeah, it looked like he's on the half-yard line. It's going to be weird. Rather than the quarterback kneel, they may have to run this ball.
They may have to run it to avoid a safety.
Yeah.
Or they might line this up on the 25 saying that it would be a touchback.
And it looks like it's going to happen.
Yeah, that looks like what it's going to be. I wasn't sure where they would spot this, whether it would be on the 1 yard line or whether they would put it on the 25. Instead, they put it on the 20, my bad. They'll have 2.2 seconds left. So if Manchester chooses to kneel, they could, and it looks like they will go in that formation. They take a knee, and we will run out the end of the first half. Barnegat with 2 touchdowns thanks to a 5-yard pass that unfortunately our Wi-Fi was out for over to Blake Pizzuti, and then a 4-yard QB rush by Jack Haviland keeps Barnegat in front. It's a 2-score game at the end of the first half. It's the Bengals 14 and the Hawks 0. We'll be back in 15 minutes on the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting YouTube page. Barnegat 14, Manchester 0.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is the responsibility of all of us to make sure that our friends, family, and anybody who we hold dear in our lives is feeling well. The problem with spotting mental health issues is that the symptoms aren't that obvious. Just because someone is okay or appears okay on the outside doesn't mean that they're okay on the inside. It's important that if they are in distress, that they call the right people and they get the help that they need. And it is very important that we treat each other with respect, regardless of who you are or where you come from. But it is just as important that we treat ourselves with respect, regardless of the situation going on in our lives. If you're in distress, you can call this number, 988, or you can visit any of these websites if you're not in distress, but would like to learn more information about mental health awareness and research. In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Jersey is the number 2 seed. As we said, they beat Manville 19-0 in the first round, which was even larger than Audubon's 16-0 win over Paulsboro as the 1 seed in the first round. That one's hit out towards center field straight away. Oh, she misjudged it. Got over her head in center field. Now this one's got a chance to be 3 bases for Spire. She's flying around third. Here comes the throw to the plate. It is not in time. What a way to kick off a semifinal with an inside the park home run. Emma Spire, who will take her talents to the Great Danes after 2026, lights up the scoreboard with a fly ball that got misjudged in center field. And it gets past everybody. Graham will go back to position with no goal scored. They'll count down the time out loud here. Out to the left. One final shot, and it gets through. How about a buzzer beater? How do you do? It's a lead extending goal for Justin Lewis. He's donning the number 34 and the shortstop for this one. First pitch. There's a line drive into center field. That one is going to drop it. It's going to go to the outfield wall. 1 run will score. Spence is going to make a huge arc around third. She will score to make it 3-0. And here comes the runner to score. It's an inside the park home run for Ella Hayes to make it a 4-0 game, a 3-run inside the Parker to the 2. 1-0 Red Bank. Now here is Al D'Elia. The man they used to call Big Al has now slimmed down, and he still hits dingers. He went viral in 2018 for his catchphrase during the Little League World Series. When he was introduced by the ESPN camera crews and was given his standard introduction, he said, "Hi, my name's Big Al, and I hit dingers." And that sentiment still holds true today. He had his first career high school home run versus Rumson Fairhaven in their opening game of the campaign last week. There's a swing and a miss, 0-2. But D'Elia, kind of a folk hero for baseball players who just want to hit the ball far and have fun while doing it. The poster child now is the poster big fella. Fly ball right center field. This is going to be a sac fly. Taken in by Terranova, and Big Al might not hit dingers, but he certainly drives in runs. It's 2-0. Ogley to end the day for Luke Pokrovsky. Little pop-up, first base side, he calls for it, and for the first time in 33 years, the Charlotte Cougars will hoist the trophy and face Middlesex on Monday. 4-3, Cougars win it. And in the battle of green and gold, the trophy stays true with the visitors. What a finish! And Shalleck will pack their bags for Middlesex and the Blue Jays when the weekend turns around to Monday. Jack Mastero, 2 for 3 with a strikeout, a double, and a single. Looking to play hero. He's going to line this one into right center field, and that's going to drop. That's going to do it if they don't get a throw down. Mastero's going to second, and Danza's coming home. Sectional champions, Gloucester Catholic. They do it in a walk-off fashion as GC with Mastero playing hero. An unbelievable launches one foul. See, Mastero's doing us a service here. Or excuse me, D'Alessandro. D'Alessandro is doing us a service here. He's letting us have this conversation by having a long at-bat. But a lot of people are still caught up in the D1 or bust mentality. Listen to this crowd. Listen to this crowd. We'll talk about that later. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Clapping it up here for the Roadrunners. 2-2. Here's a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! 3-run homer! D'Alessandro! And it's a 1-run game at the crack of the bat. 5-4. 3-run shot to center field. Trailing towards the right center, and the cleanup man does exactly what the position orders, cleaning up. And he does it incredibly well with a 5-4 game. He battles for 11 pitches and makes First half down here, Manchester 14-0, Barnegat on top. They took advantage of a 5-yard flat pass to Blake Pizzuti, and then after recovering a kickoff, well, they only needed a couple minutes to get into the end zone again. 4-yard rush by Jack Haviland. It hasn't, even though the scoreboard is all Barnegat, Manchester Township has held them mostly in check, but Manchester Township just hasn't really been able to capitalize when it matters most on those offensive drives.
Yeah, these offensive drives have been dormant. Trevor Fryer, you're showing the jitters today, unfortunately. This is a guy who came in first game. He played over 2/3 of his passes, if not 2/3. But it's just the offense dormant here. King Bass, Malik Farms, two guys really eyeing it in the running game for him, but nothing really getting utilized there either. It's just a really dormant attack. Nothing's working. The offensive line has been fine. They've been really doing a decent job. Fryer trying to make any opportunity work. Just not getting there. And the Bengals have taken full advantage of that. Mental mistakes have killed this Hawks team alive. We saw 2 muff punts already. And that's been the story of the game, giving the Barnegat Bengals really good field position. And they emphasize on that by scoring, making it 14-zip.
Yeah, I mean, listen, right now, big thing for Manchester Township. I think they should keep going to the air. I don't think Trevor Fryer's doing that bad of a job as the quarterback right now. It's his second varsity game as a starter. They scored 6 points versus Toms River East, but they gave up 22. Question is, can they do a reverse Barnegat? Because Barnegat was down 13-0 in the first quarter of last week's game versus Monmouth. They came back. They were up 14-13 at the half. The final score was 21-13. I think Manchester Township has a little bit of that comeback factor in them, considering what they did in the playoffs last year versus West Deptford. It's not guaranteed, but we'll see what happens. I'm Dan Wilkins with Matt Goldman to my right today. Manchester Township's getting ready to kick off right behind us. We're going to flip this camera around, and we are going to get 24 more minutes of, I almost said WJFL, of Shore Conference football. Here from Manchester Township, the Hawks Nest, lights are on. The sun has been replaced by some overcast clouds. And they'll be ready to send this one away to kick off the second half in tonight's contest. Again, 14-zip Barnegat. Both touchdowns under 5 yards. We did have some rain coming in last night in Washington Township's dominant 41-0 win over Pennsauken. The flags are flying here in Manchester.
It's a sick flag.
They were flying until I put my camera on it. The student section, though, coming out in droves for both sides, for Barnegat and Manchester Township. And the student section getting loud, getting ready for Manchester to send this one away. 12 minutes in the third. Here we go. Low flying kick. Will be taken in at the 20. Rushed that over to middle. Some nice hits. Finally gets swallowed up at the 43, and now Barnegat will take over for their first drive of the second half.
And what we've seen today out of Barnegat has just been a consistent attack. We've seen a rushing score. We've seen a passing score. That's what the Barnegat Bengals and Coach Paul Covine have been utilizing as much as possible. And I can't wait to see how they emphasize on this first possession of the second half. Now we enter the third quarter, up 14. Is the foot going to still be on the gas, or are they going to slow down a bit and this Manchester defense really steps it up? Those DBs have struggled, whether it's been Daheem Johnson, whether it's been Mike Fink at linebacker, who I saw recently get ran over.
High snap, right side. Haviland works through the defense, gets himself 5 yards up to the 50. Tackle made by number 99, Desmond Askew, and also Lucas Potenza in the mix that time as well. Second and mid-range, so 5 yards down, 5 to go for the Bengals.
It's a heads-up play.
Feels like we're almost at a European soccer game with those flags flying for the Hawks.
I've never been to a European soccer game. I that's like on my bucket list, a Liverpool game.
You'll get a chance next year. World Cup coming to Lincoln Financial Field in Philly. Haviland rolling out to the right. Askew, no, on his tail. He gets hit as he throws it. It's picked off. Picked off Mike Fink. Everybody got into that. Haviland is down. He gets back up. A hard-fought chase by number 79, Henry Berkebile. They forced him into pressure, and as he was running out of room towards the Hawks sideline, had to dump off the pass, and that's exactly what he did. 3 interceptions tonight, and it's the second thrown by the senior quarterback, Jack Haviland.
What a play there by that defensive front for the Hawks, really just getting in Haviland's face, doing as much as possible. And I just think that was a fantastic read there. Mike Fink waiting for that ball to come out, but it was a forced throw, which you don't like to see often, and now it's Manchester ball.
Yeah, definitely not the ideal situation to force that, as now some room to the left on Manchester's first run. On his feet, still wrestled to the ground, is Farms. And some fire must have been started in that locker room, because Manchester getting an interception and now a fantastic first down.
And it feels, as of right now, we're just under 2 minutes into the second half. And it's been all Manchester. The momentum is back now for the Hawks. If they could keep that gas, or keep their foot on the gas, it's going to be a positive result. If they could score here, it's going to be a lot more close than what we think.
Handoff. Again, really like how Fryer rolls out of the pocket on those handoffs. Definitely fools us for a second. Not sure if he's going to play action, because he's done some efficient play action work tonight. But indeed, it is a handoff for 6 yards. And they are now at the 24-yard line. So the interception by Mike Fink, and immediately Manchester making their impact here in the third.
And as I mentioned, we saw Mike Fink did get run over, but he does have a forced fumble tonight. He does have an interception. That's 2 turnovers for the linebacker. I believe he's going to his junior season now.
He is in his junior season, 6 foot, 200 pounds.
Making his presence known right away, leaving a legacy as a Hawk.
There's another run by Farms. He's still on his feet, laboring his way all the way up to the 10-yard line. It's going to be a gain of 14. They could drop the sticks here for a Manchester first down. And it's only taken them 3 minutes into the second half to force a turnover and a handful of powerful first downs by the Hawks' offensive front, led by Malik Farms.
Malik Farms really starting this second half off for the Hawks, and it's just getting better and better. He's being that anchor. He's being that bull. He's just running the rock, and that's what you'd like to see. The offensive line clicking on all cylinders, too.
Hand off right side. For Farms, again, 3 rushes in a row for the senior back. 5'8", 155 for Farms.
Farms has been a player who's been contributing since his freshman year. You know, whether it's on special teams, he played a lot of defensive back as a freshman as well. But now he's a 2A star, and he's one of the big faces. He's a captain on the squad. And Malik Farms really making an effort here to put his Hawks back in the game.
2nd and 7. They are at the 10-yard line, but the sticks are still up because the first down marker is at the 4-yard line. 2 receivers on the left for the Hawks. Fryer going to take this himself on a QB rush. Immediately went to dive forward, and he might get a yard out of that one. He's going to be at the 9, it looks like.
It looked like it was going to be the quarterback's decision. It wasn't an RPO whatsoever, but Fryer tried to see if his receiver would cross. Nothing happened there, so he took it himself, and the Bengals defense shut that down from the beginning.
It'll be 3rd and 6 from the 9. Manchester looking for their first score. They made a handful of mistakes in the first half, but otherwise they've been valiant and forced, again, that interception, the second by Jack Haviland. Fryer passes to the right, gets it on the flat. The flat cuts in. He's still on his feet. And whistles will fly before Tyheem Jackson can get sent to the ground.
I didn't like that decision there from Fryer. You saw the corner right there with Jackson. Jackson kind of ran more of a bubble screen, and unfortunately, just not what you'd like to see. Now it's 4th and 7. He did lose a yard on that one.
Well, they do have the junior kicker, Cole Wilson, but they'll opt not to use him. They'll keep the offense on the field for 4th and 7 from the 10. And the reason why we mentioned the place kicker in high school football is because of Manchester Township's heroics from last year, a 30-29 game-winning victory over West Deptford in the first round of the playoff game, or first round of South Jersey Group 2 playoffs. But keeping the offense on the field. Fryer and Manchester going to gamble here. Here comes a pass. Lets it fly. Left side. Too much on it. And a turnover on downs. Barnegat picks this one up. They won't have the best field position. They'll be at their own 10-yard line, but that's still a better trade-off than putting points on the board for Manchester as the Bengals and Paul Covine, they continue to command the shutout. And halfway through the third quarter here on DWB, it is a 14-0 game.
Ian Spicer.
Back here from Manchester Township, this broadcast is brought to you by DAWG Pro Wrestling, South Jersey's premier pro wrestling organization, with high-flying events all throughout the Garden State. The rush to the right side gets tackled out of bounds with Jack Haviland, the quarterback, keeping it himself. You can book DAWG Professional Wrestling for your next event, whether it's a charitable outing, any kind of corporate event, or really anything in between. You can book DAWG Pro Wrestling at their website, DAWGProWrestling.com. We just filmed some shots for them at their recent event at Rowan University on August 30th. Really just a fantastic environment. I mean, we were there. It was an event that ran from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. and what was a series that Rowan University runs called Rowan After Hours. They sometimes have concerts on the weekend, and right in the middle of the student center with hundreds of folks packing the center to watch the pro wrestling. A lot of local names on that list as well. They'll get to learn more about them in their future events. But another rush up the middle from Barnegat is enough to move the sticks for a first down Bengals.
Just this rushing attack, getting stronger throughout the game. And that's what you like to see. You're not going to rely on your quarterback for everything. The offensive line, the guards pulling on that play. I love what they're seeing out of the Barnegat Bengals right now.
First and 10 from the 21-yard line. Barnegat still not in great field position, but again, they kept Manchester off the board. They kept points off the board for the Hawks, forced a turnover on downs in a game that's been full of them. We saw 4 turnovers in the first quarter before points were recorded. Oh, and that one's right over his head. It's going to be recovered by the Bengals, number 22, Ryan Fitzpatrick. And Fitzpatrick putting another dagger in the drive for the Bengals, as that's not the first snap that's gone awry. It's gone quite high over Haviland's head. And that will line them all the way back up inside the 10-yard line. Ball is spotted on the 8 on the right hash of Barnegat's territory.
Hawks getting a break there. Now, more than likely, it's going to be very difficult for the Bengals to attempt to convert on this third down opportunity, or second down, my apologies. But now they can get the ball in decent field position if their defense can still hold it down. And I'm looking at 2 guys right now. It's Curtis Mayer and Mike Fink. These guys have been electric all day.
Another rollout to the right side, or rather out to the left side. This might be a loss. It's 2nd and 22. They were all the way back at the 8. I don't know how much they're gaining or losing on this, but either way, it's not much and it's not enough. It's still going to be 3rd and long.
We haven't seen strong punting whatsoever from the Bengals today. So if the Hawks could get another stop here, whether it's just a short yard gain or whether it's an incompletion or no gain whatsoever, they're going to be in good field position attempting to score a touchdown, which they failed to do in their last possession.
Like we said, both of Barnegat's scores have come on back-to-back possessions. They had a 5-yard pass to Pizzuti in the second. Then Manchester muffed the kickoff. Barnegat returned it and got great field position to set up a 4-yard QB scramble by Haviland. Haviland pump fakes. He's back. He gets tackled. Where's the ball? The ball is out. They're right on the goal line. Is this going to be a safety? Let's see what they've got. It's a safety. It's our first of the year. It's now 14-2.
Wow. That defensive front playing phenomenal there. And that's what you'd like to see. And the Hawks finally getting points on the board.
We've got a very late flag on the play. I don't know if that flag is retroactive to something. There is a player down. Can't tell from which side. Might be a Manchester player down. He's getting attention from the training staff here. But a late flag came in again, I'm not sure if it's retroactive to something that happened or if it was a personal foul after the whistle. Either way, though, this is going to hold as a safety, our first of the year. We only had 2 of them last year. I'm somebody, I always love the safety, and that was a play where Manchester stepped up when it mattered most. They took advantage of that muffed snap, the high snap that went over Haviland's head, got it all the way back at the 8, forced another loss, and then on 3rd and 22 with Barnegat, their emotions rattled, their psyche rattled, and backed up against the wall, they're able to contribute for 2 points.
Haviland hasn't made limited mistakes today, but after we just saw that, I think I'm convinced that once there's a free rusher at Haviland, once there's a couple guys who get free from the tackles, Haviland gets a little nervous. He gets a little antsy and wounds up trying to throw the football. He's got hit multiple times today. And I'm surprised he's still out there really putting his best effort forward, but getting hit a lot today. That's Haviland. But that defensive line for the Hawks has been stellar. Despite allowing 14 points, this defensive line still really putting a great effort on.
So they are still attending to that injured player in the end zone. The score holds Barnegat 14, Manchester 2. We'll take a quick break here on DWB as the safety scores, but now the actually, we might stay on the air because this Manchester player is getting up. That is number 7, Mike Fink, who had the interception earlier in the quarter, receiving help getting off the field, but luckily able to walk off under his own power just with a little bit of assistance. So we'll reverse that and we'll stay on the air.
That'd be a big loss for the Hawks.
If he's
As
out
I
of the
mentioned,
game.
a forced fumble and an interception here for Fink. And we've seen him get the ball a couple times offensively, being a power back, kind of that fullback role.
Yeah, he actually had a couple of handoffs, as you mentioned, in the first half. It was a little bit interesting, but again, for a guy of his size, he's a junior, 6 foot, 200 pounds. You could see him getting a couple of handoffs, and I wouldn't rule out Curtis Mayer getting a couple of them as well, a senior tight end who really is just a pure athlete. He had that first impact play of the game where Manchester fell short on the turnover on downs, but Mayer really just an all-out athlete. He's big, he's strong, he's somebody that can barrel through anybody and everybody. And I wouldn't be surprised if for the remainder of this game, if Mike Fink is out for the rest of the night, which, again, depending on the situation, I don't have any insight, and I sure don't like to speculate, but Mayer could definitely be getting some more touches as the senior tight end, maybe a tight end 1 for Manchester going forward. So this will be a free kick on the 20-yard line following the safety.
And the Bengals don't have a strong boot, so we could see this ball go maybe 20 yards tops, and the Pioneers will already be in Barnegat territory.
This one's sent away. Caught at the 40. It's going to be returned by Jackson. Moving across the middle over the blue and gold M. He is going to be stopped on said blue and gold M and is down at either the 50 or the Barnegat 49 with the kickoff by Zamir Jackson and the return by Taheem Jackson. So Jackson to Jackson is the connection, and we'll start this drive with a 14-2 game right on midfield.
I didn't like that stutter step there from Taheem Jackson. I felt that if he just went to the outside, tried to get that leverage and ran to the sideline, he may have got an extra 5 to 10 yards before getting pushed out of bounds. But those little mistakes today have ate up the Hawks all day, and that's why there's as big of a deficit as there is.
One of the first times tonight that Fryer sets up under center instead of in the shotgun is taking a hard fall to the ground in the rush is Malik Farnes. He'll get 3 yards, and he's up after a driving start at the 50. They'll now be up to the 47-yard line, 2nd down and 7 for Manchester. So Fryer moving right along. I mean, hey, even something as simple as a safety could really jumpstart the momentum for Manchester Township. They're working quickly. They're working out of the under center package this time. And Farrell just wants to change it up. We talked about this off the air, but Farrell is a young head coach. When he was hired here, he was 27 years old when he got hired. And now he's 30. He's got a lot of experience in those first few years. He was originally a coordinator at Shore Regional. He goes from a Group 1 school to a Group 2 school, rather, right around the same area. But he's familiar with the culture. He's familiar with the background. He likes to put his traditions and his kind of
he has a swagger, which is really
he's got
cool.
a little bit of a swagger. We were on commercial for it, but before the kickoff, he went up to the rail where the cheerleaders are on the track and just started pumping his hands up in the air. He said, let's go, in reference to the student section. He's a guy who likes to see his team succeed at any cost. This is caught on the right side. It's going to be a first down. Fryer rolled out of the pocket that time and gets the Hawks all the way up to around the 34. First down and then some for Manchester. Tyheem Jackson getting some more receptions and another player down on the Manchester side. Let's take a look at some final scores from Thursday's action while the break is on. Our DWB feature from last night saw Washington Township really have no mercy for Pennsauken. 41-0 final. Washington Township scored 28 in the first quarter. Your player of the game was Colin Beeler, who rushed for 2 TDs and 68 yards. And, yeah, that's a low amount, but that's because everybody got the love in that 41-0 win. Across 5 touchdowns, 3 different players scored, including 2 from Paris Pratt and another receiving touchdown from Austin Johnson. A low-scoring affair in Mercer County as Princeton, the Little Tigers, took down Allentown and the Redbirds 7-6. Eastern beat Ocean City in overtime 19-13. Winslow shut out Highland 47-0. And if you thought that was lopsided, how about Cherry Hill East over West Windsor South 61-0. Now we flip gears and go to Salem at Cinnaminson. Final score was 3-0 Cinnaminson. A first quarter field goal was the only scoring all night. Riverside improves to 2-0 with a 50-0 win over Florence. Delran shut out Ewing 28-zip. Cherokee beat Lenape 42-21. Gateway beat Haddon Township 33-14. Clayton defeated Mastery Camden via a forfeit by Mastery. So the final score in the book is 2-0. 43-0 Bridgeton over Clearview. And I would highlight some Shore Conference games, but there are none on here. But from what I've seen outside of Week 0, we don't see a lot of teams playing on Thursday nights. I like the Thursday night football environment. Obviously, Friday Night Lights is unmatched.
It's
but
a weird.
I believe that was Jackson, by the way, getting help. Tommy Farrell was out there with the Manchester staff.
Be another big blow. Jackson, Fink, these are 2 big
the leading returner
players
for Manchester. Now you hope. He's not putting weight on the legs. He's being carried off the field. Really hope he's okay. But, kind of circling back to what we were saying earlier, there weren't really any injury stoppages, and now Manchester's been gut-punched back-to-back. One of their leading tight ends, now one of their leading receivers and returners goes down. Manchester will have to work with what they've got for however long they're out. Rush up the middle. Hard fall again for Farms. And you know what? I think it might be cramp week for a couple of these guys because now Curtis Mayer has gone down. So we're going to have 3 straight plays. And look at Tommy Farrell. He is not happy.
That's 3 of his best players.
All going down back to back to back.
And that's rough to see any head coach, especially Farrell. They're down by 12. They are in Bengal territory. This is just a hard blow right now. 1st and 10 at the 33. 33 more yards and they score a touchdown.
I'll tell you this, the Manchester athletic training staff is overworked right now, dealing with 3 players down in a row. But one thing that I'll point out, I liked what you said earlier about Jackson's return on the punt by Zaire Jackson, the free kick after the safety. And you were saying you didn't like his stutter step. And I like what you said there because as broadcasters, I think people get it wrong sometimes where as broadcasters, yes, we are taught and trained to be positive to the high school kids. But, criticism is fair, but what you did, you gave criticism and gave a solution, an alternative. I don't like when commentators say, well, I don't like that, or I don't like how he did that, without explaining what he could have done differently. Because at the high school level, again, these guys are just kids. Probably none of these players are going to the NFL. A small percentage of them are going to college, but even then, those are Division IIIs, those are JUCOs, those are NAIAs. This is small school football at its finest, and we're here to elevate these kids. So I really liked what you were talking about there. Pass to the flat was caught by Aiden Phillips-Frazee.
It's his 3rd catch today. And I think the tunnel screen is a very underrated route concept, but we've seen a lot today, and I think that's one of Trevor Fryer's bread and butters.
Indeed.
But if we're looking at this game right now, there's just about a minute left in the 3rd quarter. There's, let's say, 13 minutes left of football. Tunnel screens are not going to get you the most amount of yards.
No, and I think you have to combine those with your longer plays. You can't hit a guy. When we were at Point Pleasant Beach last week, the talking point was Danny Cavanaugh and Matthew Rossi. They were flipping the field all the time. They were hitting each other in stride for 40, 50-yard gains.
Looks like Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow out there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we've got penalties on the play. We've got flags, and we'll have a false start on Manchester. So that will knock them back 5 yards, and it'll bring them to 3rd and 15 from the 39. And again, 33 and change left in the third quarter. It's a 14-2 game, kind of an unusual score, but at the same time, I think about how this is going to work out for Manchester Township. If you want to talk about field goals, the wind is still whipping, and if you look at the flags on top of the goalposts, right now it's in their favor. When the fourth quarter comes around, it certainly won't be. So if you want to talk about, you were talking about Ian Spicer, the place kicker last year who had that playoff heroic versus West Deptford, and then Cole Wilson, the current rostered kicker for Manchester, fires it out to the right side. It is complete. Should be short of a first down, and it is wrestled in. That is number 5, Stefan McFadden, who makes the play, and now another whistle.
That was a great out route,
Somebody
though.
down, or is it a timeout called? It's like, oh, we ran out of time in the third quarter. I was wondering what we were doing there, but listen, can't be perfect around here. It's 14-2. No, it is not a baseball game. It is instead football between Barnegat and Manchester. Bengals up by 12. We'll be right back. (14-2) at the end of the third quarter. 2 touchdowns for Barnegat in the second, and a third quarter safety put the Hawks on the board. Manchester still driving. They were unable to complete the third down conversion. They were able to get a catch made to McFadden, but it is 4th and 5 from the 29. Manchester staying on the field with a 12-point game. Throw over the middle. Oh, it's incomplete. Almost had 2 receivers come down with that. It looked like the intended receiver was Curtis Mayer, luckily staying in the game after an injury, and it is another turnover on downs. That is the 4th that Manchester Township has run into, and I feel like I've been saying this all night. Barnegat doesn't get good field position to start this drive, but you don't need good field position to score, and both of these teams, they've been working very slowly. They haven't really been the kind to have a lot of impact plays. I think that they're one of those teams, both of these teams are those kind of head coaching philosophies where you just work play by play. You just work one play at a time. Wherever it lands us, that's great. And if it gets you to the end zone, that's fine, but you've got to get there first. You don't need a 70-yard bomb downfield to get there. They know that if they get 5 yards every play on a rush or on a flat pass or on a screen, they know they can succeed. They don't need highlight reel-worthy plays to get ahead. Haviland, handoff. I believe that was Babylonia on the carry. Gets dropped at the line of scrimmage, which is the 29.
To go back to the last possession for Manchester, I feel like we've seen a lot of overthrows from Trevor Fryer, and he's just not getting that connection with his wide receivers. But that's growing pains. That's something that he's going to work on throughout his career. He's a sophomore. He's a young man. He's going into this environment at home in the Hawks' Nest against a tough Barnegat team that already came back from being down 13-0 a week prior. It's just a big growing pain, but it's in the step of success for Fryer. So I would not keep my head down if I'm Trevor Fryer.
No, and listen, this is his second game as a starter. They faced Toms River East last week, put up 6 points in a 22-6 loss. But he has a big chip on his shoulder backing up Aiden Lund last year, as we will have penalties on the play. Looks like a false start on Barnegat, and it will back them up 2nd and 12 from the 27-yard line. So, yeah, I mean, Fryer, his second game as a starter, he's a sophomore. we talked about this on opening night with Clearview. Bennett Durkin. He was a freshman quarterback who started all the games last year, and under head coach Stephen Duncan, he threw maybe 30 passes all year and had 250 yards. Well, in this case, Tommy Farrell has 3 years to develop. Trevor Fryer.
And guess what he did with Aiden Lunn? Took 3 years to develop, and look where Aiden Lunn is playing collegiate football.
Exactly. You don't need a whole lot to get started. Haviland rolls out to the right, dumps off a pass to the right. It is complete. I believe that was caught on the far side by number 2, Brady Anderson. Man, we've got a lot of similar names. Brady Anderson, no relation, I assume, to the former Baltimore Oriole from the 1990s. And then we were talking about one of the backup running backs, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
It's a place of familiarity today.
Exactly.
For both the Bengals and the Hawks.
We're here at the Hawks' Nest, 14-2. It's not your typical football score, but it doesn't need to be to have some Friday night fun. As Haviland will back up again on 3rd and 8 from the 31. Immediately dumps off a pass right side, or rather left side. Gets it buried shy of the first. He's at the 38. Pass was caught by Calvin Fair, the freshman, and he was tackled by number 70, A.J. Faccarile.
Haviland's done a phenomenal job getting a lot of people the ball, a lot of different Bengals players touching the ball offensively. Everybody's eating on the Bengals offense, and that's a big reason why they're up.
And sometimes the only times that a head coach will deviate from his normal starting 11 will be when the game is out of reach, but it's not. It's a 12-point game. And with the safety, Manchester's already got 1 foot out the door. They just need a touchdown. If they get a touchdown and a PAT, that would make it 14-9. And then at that point, you'd only need 5 points.
Another defensive stop and a score, and they're up by 1.
Exactly. You throw a 2-point conversion in the mix. Ooh, jump on the right edge. Number 0 got tagged that time on the offsides, and that's going to be, unless they said the offensive line jumped. No, delay of game? Wow.
It looks
that
like
was a massive break. It looked like number 0, Avery Butler, jumped, but they said that Barnegat failed to get the snap off in time, and instead of it being a first down Bengals, Manchester just got a massive break.
That could have been essentially game over. You have first down, more opportunity to chew clock if you're the Bengals, but now they're going to have to punt that ball. And we saw Johnson punt the ball earlier, or Jackson, my apologies. And he punted about 30, 35 yards. And we punted Taheem Jackson.
Oh, Zaire Jackson muffs it. He's actually going to have room on the right side. He is going to run his way into a first down. He is all the way out at the 40-yard line as the punter goes from 0 to hero. How about that for Jackson? He muffed the punt and is able to not only recover, not only get a first down, but he's able to get a loud first down of 20-plus yards to flip the field for Barnegat, put them in enemy territory, and turn this drive from a flop into a success with 9 minutes and change in the fourth quarter. That could be a play that changes a lot of dynamics for both the Bengals and Manchester.
Wow. All I could say is wow there. What a phenomenal play there. And that's going to give the Bengals the edge. Now they cross the big M in the middle of the field, cross midfield, and now all the momentum.
Oh, hold on.
They have
We've got a wide receiver 5 yards offside.
They got a little happy.
Yeah, that was the right wideout who was ahead of the line of scrimmage and then some. I'll tell you, it was. I'm trying to think of what I was going to say. It was like a CFL play where the wide receivers are allowed to run up to the line of scrimmage before the ball is snapped. Haviland, hand off at the middle. After the 5-yard penalty, will trudge forward for about 7. I'll tell you this, both offensive lines are holding up really well tonight for both teams. I mean, we haven't really seen, I don't think we've seen any sacks on either side. And the turnovers that we've seen have either been on turnovers on downs. The quarterbacks themselves have made a handful of mistakes. Haviland's thrown 2 picks.
We've seen some skill position.
Fryer has thrown 1.
Skill position some mistakes for the skill position players. I was trying to find a word that rhymes.
Oh, we don't have to be Dr. Seuss up here in the press box, I'll tell you that much.
Well, vocabulary is shot for the.
We've used up all of the resources. Rush up the middle, up to around the 35. It'll be third and mid-range for Paul Covine and the Bengals. Tune in tomorrow morning for parochial football from Gloucester Catholic. We say Gloucester Catholic, but the game will be played at Gloucester City. It's Morris Catholic and the Crusaders versus the Gloucester Catholic Rams. It should be a good game. That game ended in a 3-point difference. 17-14 was the final in favor of the Crusaders last year. And then on Monday, it's our first boys soccer game of the year, a BCSL powerhouse matchup between the Northern Burlington Greyhounds and the Delran Bears from the Bears Den. This is the Hawks Nest. They have the Bears Den. 3:45 first kick at Delran on Monday, September the 8th. Third and 4 from the 34. Haviland takes it himself, scrambles to the right side. He gets a first down. He's dropped in front of the pylon, and he will get up to the 26-yard line, a gain of 8. And Haviland able to scramble enough to convert on third down, which Barnegat has been very good at. Hold on here. We've got a penalty. Flag came in. It looked like it was against Manchester Township.
Looked like it was late, too.
Might have been a personal foul of some kind. I couldn't get my eyes fixated over quick enough. Let's take a look here. They're walking him back, so this might be a Barnegat penalty.
So personal
foul against the Bengals. That is a big blow. Just feels this game feels like it's in limbo. Every time Barnegat makes a mistake, Manchester Township converts and gets another mistake to balance things out. I mean, that's why this game is so low scoring tonight. Just feels like that
it's neither like competition.
Neither team has been able to have consistently good drives. I mean, right now they're back at 1st and 25, basically back to where they started at the 42-yard line. Haviland takes it himself. No receivers downfield. He's up to the 30. The jersey fabric almost got ripped off of number 5, Haviland. And he is going to basically make up for a lot of lost time after the 15-yard personal foul. Gets them up to the 31. Actually, where are they spotting this? They're spotting this at the 26, 27. So it's going to be 2nd and 12.
So essentially,
a gain of 13.
Nearly got all the penalty yards back.
Yeah, good way to be efficient. You get a penalty, you don't think it's your fault, fine. We'll just rush it back, gain those yards back. Now, they did waste a little bit of time. Clock is still stopped with 7:32 because Haviland did get tackled out of bounds.
These linebackers, unfortunately, are just they're just not having the best time out there. Haviland's really having his way on this drive. Whether it's Avery Butler, whether it's Hetzel out there, it's definitely going to be an issue.
This is going to be a first down and then some. Think we see a penalty flag as he almost got taken down in the end zone. Hands are up. That's a Barnegat touchdown. 26 yards, converting on 2nd and 11, 2 plays after a personal foul. But we do have a penalty on the play. So this might be coming back. The Barnegat cheerleaders were all the way down at the end zone, and now not sure what happened.
A lot of confusion here.
Yeah. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul.
It's the second touchdown that's came back today. One for Manchester now, one for the Bengals, so they're going to taste their own medicine.
Yeah, that's always difficult when you have a touchdown brought back. It will still be they're actually going to gain a couple of yards on this because it's now lined up at 2nd and 6. They were originally at 2nd and 11, got it into the end zone, but what we were hearing from the public address announcer to our left was 10 yards from the spot of the foul. So they will line this one up, 2nd and 6, 7:19 left. They're still outside of the red zone. They're at the 23-yard line, but still Barnegat has been all over the place this drive. They've gone forward. They've gone backwards. Of course, this is a drive following the safety that put Manchester on the board. Haviland up the middle. Oh, my goodness. He's gone. Touchdown, Barnegat. Jack Haviland Second time tonight, a direct snap. He calls his own number, and Barnegat might put this game away with 7:10 remaining. We've got another penalty flag. Are you kidding me?
Oh my goodness, again.
Is this going to happen again?
Havlin, it's still, it may not see on the box score tonight, but he may have totally, without penalties, be in the 200s.
Let's see what this penalty is and if it's going to bring Barnegat back. It looks like they're walking backwards here. They're calling Tommy Farrell over, the head coach for Manchester.
He does not look happy.
Is this going to be a penalty against Manchester then? I'm just reading the body language.
The Bengals seem to be back.
Yeah, he is upset. Unsportsmanlike conduct on Barnegat. But the touchdown, I think what Farrell was upset about is that I think that this touchdown is going to count. Touchdown counts. I don't know if this unsportsmanlike penalty will be applied to the kickoff then, because it's not being applied to this PAT, I would assume. It's going to be, again, the place kicker, number 25, Anthony Dringis, off the left foot. Holding is Ryan Fitzpatrick. As a drama-filled drive ends with a score, and we've got penalty flags on the kickoff, offsides on Manchester.
That is now, I believe, the third or fourth penalty on this possession.
And some big ones at that. Personal fouls. It's the second personal foul call this drive. There was one after the touchdown by Jack Havland. Now there's just a lot of confusion. It still says 20-2 on the scoreboard for Barnegat. Are they going to reattempt the PAT if the penalty's against Manchester? Or I couldn't tell if the PAT counted. So it's encroachment against Manchester. They're just going to reline this up. I wasn't sure if he made it because I was looking at the offsides call, but you know what? The play wouldn't have counted anyway because the whistles blew it dead. Here we go. Attempt number 2 is up, away, and I think might be no good. It was wide to the left. So after the second attempt on the encroachment by the Hawks, the Bengals now lead by 18 points. It's not out of reach for Manchester, but their time and their money will have to be efficient here in quarter number 4, 7:10 to play. Barnegat 20, Manchester 2. Doesn't take too bright of a camera to see how bright Barnegat's student section is, I'll tell you there. That's pretty bright. Again, they got their construction gear on tonight. Their neon theme. This one is sent away by Dringis, returned by Taheem Jackson. Hugging the Manchester sideline. He's going to get a good return up to the 45-46. Like I said, it's not over for Manchester, but if in their first 8 quarters of the season, we've got penalty flags flying in everywhere. Penalty flags going straight into the hodgepodge. And
just undisciplined nature after undisciplined nature here for the Hawks.
Unsportsmanlike Barnegat. So I believe wasn't their kickoff already ticked back because of an unsportsmanlike conduct call? That's their second in a row.
So Manchester's going to have very solid field position. If they want to score now, this has to be the time to do it.
You might as well take advantage of an undisciplined action
They're
because
already past midfield.
they're already past midfield after Jackson's return failed at the 45. It got stopped at the 45. Now you add on 15 yards. They are at the 37-yard line on the other side of the field. They have 7 minutes exactly to play in regulation.
Just a colossal effort here from Barnegat. Up 18 now. But it feels like as if their offense hasn't had to do too much of the carrying defensively. They've been stopping Manchester. I believe they've had 4 fourth-down conversions that they couldn't convert in really solid field position. I get they've been pushed back, but a muff punt in the second quarter really helped their case out.
Oh, look at the chain gang. They're in the wrong spot. Chain gang thought that maybe it was Barnegat ball. I'm not sure, but somebody didn't get the memo. They're going
It's
to
all over the place here.
Yeah, it's
a Friday night.
It's a Friday night. We're going to go home. We're going to try to avoid hitting any deer on Route 70, and we'll be back in action in Camden County tomorrow morning. 1st and 10 from the 37. 2 receivers on each side. Fryer hits his man to the left, and he takes himself out. Reception made by Phillips Frazee. Tackle made by number 21, Calvin Fair, the freshman, who we've called his name a couple times tonight.
It's the fourth time.
Always nice to make a good impression as a freshman. I mean, when you're able to get varsity reps or varsity starts as a freshman, oh, wow. That snap went over his head again. He falls on it. He got hit as he did it.
Just another mistake. The snapping has been such an issue tonight for the Hawks where Coach Tommy Farrell and company have to address that over the next week because they have tough matchup after tough matchup coming up. Just a bad break here, and it's just not going to work. Loss.
Barnegat has their home opener versus Toms River East, which is the team that Manchester lost to on opening night. Oh, Fryer hit hard as he throws, but he completes it. Downfield to Phillips Frazee as Trevor Fryer got hit from behind. And it was 3rd and 27 after that. They're in a little bit of a more manageable range. They're back at the
23 after the snap.
That's one of the worst we've seen tonight. They're going to go no huddle. They're going to keep this thing moving quickly, as one does down 18, but the whistles have another story. Manchester does call their first timeout of the night. So 5:37 left in regulation. We'll take a look, first of all, this being the first timeout of the evening, or rather of the half. The road ahead for Manchester Township, who again went 8-3 last year overall, went 5-0 undefeated in the Shore C South Division. They're on the road next week at Lacey, the Lacey Lions, a game that Manchester last played them in 2020. Final score 12-3 Manchester. And then back-to-back home games versus Central Regional, team out of Bayville, and then Toms River South on the 29th. And then 2 straight road games, Monmouth on October the 3rd, Southern on October the 10th. Then they close it out with their home closer versus Pinelands and a road game at Brick Township. And then again for Barnegat, Toms River East next week. Then they play Lacey, Lakewood, the Piners on September the 26th. And then Freehold Township, Pinelands, and then 2 home games to close out the regular season for Paul Covine and the Bengals versus Neptune and Group 1 school, Keyport. All the way at the very tippy top of the Jersey Shore. Good snap read by Barnegat that time. Offensive line holds up. He will get past the line of scrimmage on 4th and 13, but unable to get any progress. And it looks like that this could be a game-sealing play right there. Fryer running on 4th and long. I doubt that's what he intended to do. I think he wanted to send it out, but there's one time where you cock your head to the left and you realize, oh shoot, I'm ahead of the line of scrimmage. Can't do anything about that. Can't take it back. Just got to make the best of it, and it's another turnover on downs. Manchester Township with 5 of them tonight.
Yeah, just a bad thing there for the Hawks, but I feel like that was the best time we've seen the Bengals defensive backs play all game. They locked down Phillips Frazee, who's had 5 catches tonight. Taheem Jackson couldn't get anywhere. Mayer couldn't get anywhere. Any of the backs in the backfield were not even really blocking. They were trying to go out for anything, and just nothing was working there for the Hawks.
Oh, and we've got movement.
Timeout Barnegat.
No, timeout Barnegat. They call their first of the half. Both teams have 2 remaining. We will also take a timeout with 5 minutes, 27 seconds in regulation. It's not your usual football score, but it's 20 for Barnegat, 2 for Manchester Township. Each team has burned a timeout as, again, the turnover on downs by Manchester. Manchester looking like they could be 0-2 going in the next week's matchup versus Lacey, which, again, history says that Manchester Township won the last game that they played, but that was 5 years ago. You can't really put too fine a point on it. You can really only take it with a grain of salt, because anything over 4 years means an entirely new class of individuals are on the field. So, I mean, we like to look at history sometimes, but it can be a moot point. We talked about Manchester Township winning last year's game between these two, 24-12. It was a 12-point game, and it was also a home game for Manchester.
It feels like this rivalry every year just goes Barnegat will win, then Manchester. Barnegat, Manchester. You never have a team that's always on top. You've seen other rivalries throughout high school. There's always one certain team that gets the edge. Toms River North, Toms River East, for example. North has ran the river for years there. So I just think this is just, counterbalance for that matter.
From the right hash, they're lined up. QB in the shotgun, diving forward. It should be enough for a first down. From now, clock gets stopped here. No, they're going to let it. One referee said to stop the clock. The other said to run it. They're going to line this one up at the 47-yard line, all the way over in Manchester territory. And again, with 4 minutes left, the game now turns to clock management and clock wasting, as they're going to try to run off as many plays as they can, burn off as much time as possible, and go home to Barnegat for their home opener versus TRE, Toms River East, next Friday, with a 2-0 record, looking to send Manchester Township home 0-2.
With what the cards are looking like, Bengals are going to start off 2-0. That's a phenomenal momentum. They were 6-4 a season ago. Starting off 2-0 is in the right direction. Coach Paul Covine, who came in for former coach Rob Davis, has just done a phenomenal job at the helm here with the Bengals over the last couple of years. And this is just, a legend in the making here in Ocean County. Paul Covine really getting stuff together.
And I believe Paul Covine, or rather Rob Davis, the new, or same guy that we're talking about, the new head coach at Egg Harbor Township in his second year there. They didn't have the best start last year. I mean, they still have some fantastic talents over in Atlantic County over at Egg Harbor. I was telling somebody before the game that Manchester Township to Toms River is almost like what Egg Harbor is to Atlantic City.
Yeah.
You can't see the ocean from there, but it's a shore town for what it's worth, and you're not too far removed from the beaches of Ocean County down here in Manchester/Lakehurst, over near the Barnegat Bay. As rush up the middle, up to the 40-yard line, and a flag comes flying in. Got some airtime on that flag on the near side of the field. Let's see what the white cap official has to say about it. If it's a personal foul call, I wouldn't be surprised because of how late it was after the whistle.
We've seen a lot of these today. I think tempers are really getting the better of the Hawks here, and the Bengals for that matter. Barnegat trying to get out of here scotch-free with a win. Vom Covine, I'm just telling the guys, just finish it all.
Offsetting penalties that time, so we'll go right back to square one. It's going to be 3rd and short for the Bengals. With Manchester down by 18, it'll be 20 for Barnegat, 2 for Manchester. Again, in a game where they followed up a 22-6 loss to Toms River East last week. And they have successfully wasted a lot of time in this drive, even if a touchdown is not in sight. They're now down to 2.5 minutes left in regulation. Defensive line, the nose tackle's getting adjusted. Oh, how about that? Two men on the left side for Barnegat moved, and it caused Manchester Township to jump, and that will be a first down for Barnegat, which should either will put this game away or will make us very close to putting the game away. They're not exactly in kneeling territory yet, but Manchester making a key mistake on the right side of the defensive line, and that could put this game out of reach if it isn't already.
Yeah, just simple penalty after simple penalty here. Tearing away these teams right now. Final 2 minutes. Barnegat coming on top tonight. Ruining senior day here for the Hawks. You never like to see that if you're a senior when you're getting recognized and you wound up losing the game. It's a hard pill to swallow.
Haviland handoff to Fitzpatrick. Might get a first down on this play alone, and in fact, he's all the way up at around the 15-yard line. A break-free runaway by Fitzpatrick. And Barnegat really could put this game away here with 90 seconds remaining. So they'll move the sticks, and I'm pretty sure that's going to do it. Lights are getting shut off to our left. As Manchester Township, again, you were talking about their senior day, but I mean, I look at Tommy Farrell's schedule. I don't know what home game you could schedule for that. Toms River East, they're a tough opponent. Central Regional, Toms River South, and Pinelands. And of course this
is a big rivalry as well. Those two teams, they faced off in the NJSIAA Group 2 consolation game when they were consolation games, and these teams were bickering all game. A couple fights on the field, but nonetheless, that's a school where they face off well in every sport.
Barnegat sending several men in motion. Handoff up the middle, gets snuffed out at the line of scrimmage. Rush was made by Brady Anderson. It's going to be a gain of 3 yards. Again, tune in for our next high school football game on Saturday, September 6th. We'll be up bright and early tomorrow for an 11 a.m. kickoff between Morris Catholic and Gloucester Catholic. I mean, I'm thinking if I'm getting there at like 10 a.m., imagine how early Morris Catholic has to leave.
That's quite a drive.
On their buses. I mean, it's a home and home. It's only fair.
5:30 a.m., that'd be my prediction.
I don't know about that much, but Barnegat takes a knee. Haviland takes a knee, and that will do it here in Manchester. Senior Day spoilers. As Barnegat, after losing by 12 to the Hawks this time last year, they'll line it up at the 50, and the clock will hit 0. A jubilee over in the student section for the Bengals. They win this game by 18 points. Final score 20-2. Barnegat in a high-fought rivalry here in Ocean County, down by the bay. They spoil the party for the Hawks, holding the Hawks not to a shutout, but to a shutout outside of a third quarter safety. And again, an 18-point victory for Paul Covine as he shakes hands with the Manchester officials, Manchester coaches down on the sideline. Very positive game for Barnegat as they now exit week 1 with a 2-0 record.
Yeah, that shore conference football is no joke. Now Barnegat really doing a good thing. 2-0. They're happy. They're celebrating on the field. And if I'm a Bengal, I'm partying tonight. This would be a great way. And Toms River East coming next week, a team that I think they fare very similar to. East took down the Hawks by 16. The Bengals took down the Hawks by 18. Both on the road. So, nonetheless, it's going to be a test in the next week for the Bengals. But what a win coming into Manchester against their rival, spoiling senior day. What more can you ask for if I'm Coach Paul Covine?
Listen, it's never easy. Oh, that light finally turned on, and now we've – oh, you might want to turn that light off. I adjusted the camera thinking that the lighting will be fixed, and then we went to heaven for a second. Oh, my goodness.
We elevated.
Higher plane football, ladies and gentlemen. But, no, I mean, listen, 18-point game. Barnegat definitely surprised me a little bit tonight. But also Manchester, I don't know what I came to expect because Manchester did lose their quarterback, Aiden Lunn, who passed for 1,500 yards. They lost their 2 leading rushers and their 2 leading receivers.
And a ton of pieces defensively. Dante Mordelay, Anthony D'Antonio. 2 linebackers that wound it up leaving. They both go to King's College now. You know, it's just a loss in the linebacker spot. You thought a guy like Mike Fink would step up. You saw cramps, injuries, a lot of negative factors that happened for the Hawks tonight. But it's just something to keep their head high and move on to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the silver lining that I was going to get to was that even though they lost all of those guys, I saw a lot of progress because there's ways to lift up a team even though they've lost the game. I thought that Trevor Pryor Trevor Fryer was a very efficient passer out of the pocket tonight. It did help that his offensive line held him up, but he had a couple of overthrows. He didn't really underthrow the ball a lot. And honestly, if you're a sophomore who's an overthrowing quarterback, that's a good problem to have because your quarterback coaches will work with you throughout the season. This is, they still have 6 or 7 games left in the regular season, not to mention any playoff games they could have. There's still a lot of time for Trevor Fryer to get his fix, get his kicks in, and get a lot of reps.
Yeah.
He threw a lot tonight. And again, he attempted 13 passes as a freshman, so he's got that varsity experience. But when you're thrown into that starting role and you have 3 years to figure it out, you'd rather get it figured out in year 1 rather than as a senior. You want to help out your team when you can. And right now, I think that Trevor Fryer is making those steps possible so that this team can succeed later down the road.
I don't want to compare him to Aiden Lund, but I'm going to compare him to Aiden Lund. I feel like they're both similar stature. They're both similar types of players. I believe Lund was very stagnant as a sophomore when he was thrown into the starting role. Didn't run the ball too much. We may see Fryer elevate as a runner throughout his career here as a Hawk. But the Hawks were 3-7 when Lund was under center his sophomore year. We can see something the same with Fryer, but nonetheless, just progression. Tommy Farrell, I think he's kind of a quarterback whisperer. We're seeing the progression with Aiden Lund throughout the years. Trust the process, Trevor Fryer. Time will come.
Exactly. And listen, a lot of things can happen over 3 years. We saw Matthew Rossi last week at Point Pleasant Beach, threw for 266 yards. We were tipped that during the offseason he grew 5 inches. Same could happen to Trevor Fryer. Any number of off-the-field variables can happen, or on-the-field variables can happen, to really change the trajectory of this quarterback. But it's not all about the quarterback. I saw some great stuff from Curtis Mayer tonight. The tight end combination of Mike Fink picking up an interception. Jack Haviland, despite being our player of the game with 2 rushing scores and a passing touchdown as well, listen, he threw 2 picks. He was not perfect. Neither quarterback was perfect. Fryer threw a pick. Haviland threw 2 picks. It's not going to be a perfect side for either team. And I think that Barnegat is a little bit more complete right now, while Manchester, while not playing badly, is definitely a work in progress. This game could have been very, very worse. It could have been like last night, 41-0 Washington Township over Pennsauken. It could have been way out of it. But the last drive of the game before Barnegat took over, we still thought that Manchester had a chance. And that alone shows the progress that Manchester has made between week 1 and week 0.
Yeah, there's a lot of good here for the Hawks, and it's just going to be time will tell, progression. These guys are only going to get better and better and better. A lot of underclasses mentioned earlier in the broadcast, a lot of sophomores, a lot of juniors really playing big-time minutes for the Hawks in this one. As you mentioned, there are a lot of holes. That defensive back room, I think, is the biggest hole in this team. We saw Barnegat players routing them up left and right. Unfortunately, they did not wound up changing that through the game. They really focused on that rushing attack more in the second half, but it is what it is. The Hawks do take the loss here, but if I'm looking at something that's good, the offensive line was great tonight.
Both offensive lines held up really well, and it allowed both quarterbacks to really shine at what they were at best. Haviland was able to scramble more. Fryer, he tried to emulate that a little bit with the direct snaps, but I felt that Haviland was very much prepared with those direct snaps, and that's how we saw 2 of Barnegat's scores. They were on QB scrambles that looked like designed QB rush plays, and when you can do that effectively over and over again, that's going to be really good. And Barnegat's got a very tough opponent in Toms River East, which beat Manchester in week 0, and then Manchester Township themselves, they have Lacey, a team that they haven't played in 5 years. So let's wrap this up tonight. Again, player of the game will go to Jack Haviland, who was responsible for pretty much all 20 points on the board, 2 rushing touchdowns as he called his own number, and then a passing touchdown in the second quarter to get the opening scoring started. An unusual final score tonight of 20-2, but we'll be back in action tomorrow from Gloucester Catholic with a North versus South parochial battle between the Morris Catholic Crusaders and the Gloucester Catholic Rams. From our entire crew, our social media coordinator, Haley Mejia, our graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel, Caleb Lane, and Carson Rosso, my color commentator and producer doing it all tonight, Matt Goldman. By the way, if you're up in this area or if you're up in North Jersey watching tonight, check out his morning radio show from William Patterson University. What's the call sign again?
1 Yard Line, WPSC-FM, Wayne, GoBrave.org. If you want to check it out, it'd be much appreciated.
We always try to help him out because he's a fantastic new talent for us. But I'm Dan Wilkins. We'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early from Gloucester Catholic. The final score tonight, 20-2, Barnegat over Manchester Township. One more thing, want to give a quick thank you to Tommy Farrell for having us, along with Keith Lister, the athletic director who retired after 38 38 years of service. Glad to be along for the ride, and we hope to be back in Manchester sometime very soon. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a good one, folks.